Meal prepping can revolutionize how we approach dieting, right? It's convenient, it helps with portion control, it helps us stick to healthy habits. But meal prepping can also take all of the fun out of cooking and eating food because it limits variety, it can become a chore, and if we're not careful, it can also cost a lot of money too. So in this video, I just want to share some of the things I've learned, some of the things I think about when it comes to meal prepping. These are simple tips, but I guarantee if you follow these, you'll become more efficient at meal prepping, you'll have more variety with your recipes, and you'll also save some money too. So, how can we be more efficient? Let's start off with a straightforward one. Rather than cooking a meal, storing it in a meal prep container, cooking another meal, it is way more efficient to cook in batches. Maybe cook enough for 5 meals at a time, or maybe cook enough for 7 meals at a time, and then keep these for later. If you can find a way to cook 3 meals with 7 portions for each meal, you've basically cooked your entire week's food in just 3 meals, rather than cooking 21 separate meals. Now I know this may sound very obvious, but I also know someone who does do each meal individually, and it takes them ages. So I thought I would just get this tip out there in case you were thinking of doing something like this. Another way to improve efficiency is to focus on slow cooker recipes and one-pot recipes. One-pot recipes, slow cooker recipes, these are generally set and forget recipes that you can leave running in the background while you prep another meal. And this allows you to meal prep multiple meals simultaneously, which of course is way more time efficient. On top of this, one-pot recipes, slow cooker recipes, they generally allow you to cook very large quantities of food all at the same time, which means that you can get more portions out of them as well. And on top of this, one-pot recipes, especially the pasta dishes, they taste amazing. So that's always a great bonus. Next, try and invest in some good quality meal prep containers, especially ones that have different compartments. This means that you can prep more complicated meals where you don't want some of the ingredients mixing all in one container, which not only unlocks more recipes for greater variety, but it also helps with washing up, with storage, with costs. Lastly, on efficiency, try and make sure that you have a well-stocked pantry. Making sure that you have a wide range of ingredients ready to go in the pantry can be a lifesaver when it comes to meal prepping. There is nothing more frustrating than when you're prepping a whole week's worth of food and you realize that you forgot to buy one of the ingredients. If you make sure that you have some key ingredients as backup in your pantry, then you can minimize this problem. Good things to have are canned foods or frozen meat or frozen vegetables, right? Essential ingredients that you can use to quickly whip up some meals. Next, how can we add more variety? Rather than eating the same meal every single week, try and focus on more versatile recipes. Recipes like mix and match bowls or wraps or stir fries. These can all be customized with different ingredients to give you a different spin on the same meal and give you more variety. You can also add variety by using different spices and sauces with the same meal. You can have chicken and rice every day of the week and have them taste totally different if you use a fajita spice mix on day 1 and a bolognese sauce on day 2, maybe a Cajun spice mix on day 3, and so on. Simply by adjusting the flavor ingredients, you can still stick to those same main ingredients, the chicken and the rice, but have variety across the whole week. One great way that I like to add variety to my meal prepping is to make sure I use different combinations of the ingredients that I've cooked in batches. Let's say for meat, you cook some chicken breast, beef mince, and chicken thigh. For carbs, you cook some rice, potatoes, and pasta. And for vegetables, you cook some carrots, sweet corn, and broccoli. You now have 27 different meal combinations. For example, one meal, you can have chicken, broccoli, and rice, the classic. Another meal, you can keep the broccoli, but have it with beef mince and potato. Another meal, you can have chicken thigh, pasta, and sweet corn. You can get so much more variety out of the ingredients that you've cooked just by using them in different meal combinations. To me, this is just so useful, so maybe something you can try too. And lastly, on boosting variety, make sure you utilize the freezer more. Food that is frozen can last months rather than just a few days. So one great thing you can do is when you are meal prepping, try and meal prep more than you need for the week. And then those leftover meals, you can store in the freezer for later. Over time, you'll build up this array of all these different meals that you can then pull from when you want a bit of variety. Just remember to label those containers before you put them in the freezer with all the calories and macros. Otherwise, when you get that dish out a month later, you're not going to remember what was in that dish and it might not fit with your current diet. The last thing you want to be doing is throwing away food because you can't remember what's in there. So let's move on to the final section. How can we save money with meal prepping? The easiest way is to plan out everything before you even go to the shops. Know exactly what you need to buy before you get there rather than just winging it. So make a menu and shop for what you need to reduce waste and reduce costs. Next, take advantage of sales and buy those staple ingredients in bulk to reduce costs. Also, maybe start looking at where you're buying your food from. Maybe it's time to start buying from a different supermarket. Like if you're in the UK like me, maybe Aldi is the place to go. Also, do some research into different brand alternatives. So buying a Dolmio bolognese sauce is going to be a lot more expensive than buying the Aldi own brand bolognese sauce. And this can actually save quite a bit of money if you start using these store brand ingredients for the meals across the whole week. Consider seasonal ingredients too. Seasonal produce is often cheaper and fresher, helping you save while eating well at the same time. So there we have it. Some simple things to think about when it comes to meal prepping, if you want to be more efficient, if you want to add more variety, and also save some money at the same time. One last thing to mention on cost savings is the cost of protein. So generally, when you look at the shopping bill, the protein part of that shopping bill is a big chunk. And if you're meal prepping for the whole week, the amount of money you spend on protein is actually quite considerable. That is why I would recommend you watch this video next. In it, I show how I was able to halve my protein grocery bill just by making a few tweaks in my buying habits. I hope that was useful. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.